Hey everyone, welcome back to the roof and the Poplar Bible Study channel. If you're on my main channel, the Poplar Report, a lot of folks really like the rooftops. So I thought before I leave, I'd do another video up here for you guys. So I'm hiking through the Mita, and that is the central section of the Camino. It's like this high plateau, and it's just flat, and it's just fields and very little tree cover. In the summertime, it is brutally hot. In the wintertime, it's freezing cold because it's high altitude. For us, it's just windy and just very little cover from the sun and all that. But mostly, it's just boring, you know? I mean, there's nothing really exciting to look at on the horizon. You're not seeing great vistas. And I think that's a lot of our lives for the most part, right? I mean, anyone kind of feel like your life's like, I mean, you know, it's either not so bad or maybe it is a little bit bad, but you know, more than anything, most of our lives seem most of the time to be kind of boring, right? You know, I mean, on one hand, we don't want them to be too exciting because that gets old real fast, right? But I want to revisit this verse in Romans chapter 12, verse 12. We talked about this a few days ago, and we kind of really emphasized the first section of it. I really want to emphasize the second section here. Romans 12:12 says, "Rejoice in hope, be patient in affliction, be persistent in prayer." Now, we focused in on the rejoice in hope, right? You know, rejoice even in the difficult times. Don't forget to rejoice. It's a command of God. But rather, let's look at here now, be patient in affliction, be persistent in prayer. And that's when we are in a place where we don't want to be. We need to be patient. Now, patient doesn't mean just waiting, right? It means to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, even as this is happening the way you don't want it to happen. It means that you're faithful in the midst of it. To be patient means to be active when you're required to be active. Patient is not like equivalent to lazy, right? Well, I'm just patiently waiting for something to happen. No, we need to continue to work to do things, right? But we should not be trying to get out of what God has put us in intentionally. And it's not us quitting and charting a new course, but it is us prayerfully being faithful with the opportunities that God places before us, right? To be patient in affliction. So, like I said, for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, we get to walk across this plain, which is basically just farming fields, one after the next. And most of this is like walking right next to the road. I mean, usually like a footpath right next to the road. So you're seeing the traffic go whizzing by, and you're like, I wish I was going that fast because there isn't too much to see. Just imagine like the Great Plains of the United States, and that's basically kind of like what we're walking through. It's just getting like a lot of kind of nothing, a lot of people describe the Camino, the first third of it is physically testing. It's testing your physicality, your body. And then they say like the second third, it tests your mind. It tests your mind. See if you have the mental strength to just push through and just keep going when you don't have the pretty views, you don't have anything, you have the long hauls between towns and villages, you have the very little break from the sun and the wind, and you just kind of get beat on for a while. And do you have the mental toughness to say, I'm going to continue pressing through the difficulties? And I think that really speaks to a lot of us, doesn't it? You know, I mean, we're not all walking on a Camino or hiking a Camino, but at the same time, we all have things happening to us that aren't the way we'd like them to be. Isn't that true? And the other thing too is that we often think that what we're doing and the situations that we're in really aren't all that important. Does anyone else get the feeling of that? It's kind of like, if I quit, no one would really care. Or if I phone it in today and I'm not super diligent about things, nobody's going to notice. You know, if I don't get all that laundry done, yeah, okay, whatever happens. But here's the thing. This final part of the verse says, be persistent in prayer. So, we may be in a place where we don't feel like we're having much of an impact on other people. And if you feel like that, well then, there's the question, are you being persistent in prayer? Because do you know people you could be praying for? The answer is yes. Okay, now you may not be leading a church service, you may not be leading a Sunday school or children's ministry or some small group at your home, okay? You may not be leading an army of people to some sort of revolution or something, but can you pray for people? Absolutely. And there are people in desperate crisis who need people to pray for them. And you know, I've mulled over trying to figure out how to do like a prayer ministry through this channel, and get some folks who who are willing to gather together as a prayer warriors so that we can take prayer requests from this community and other communities and be praying for them. I still haven't quite figured out how to do that, but it's something I've been mulling over, but because there's always something we can do. And, you know, some people say, all I can do is just pray. And that's really, truly, well, I mean, it depends on how you mean it, right? If you mean it's like the last ditch, I can do this because I can't do anything else. Prayer should be the first thing you do. Prayer is the most powerful thing that you can do, right? I mean, it shouldn't be a last recourse and kind of like a, well, this isn't going to do anything kind of thing, but, you know, it's good intentions or something. No, prayer is powerful. Prayer moves the heart of God. And are we being persistent in prayer? When I'm walking through these fields and just nothing's happening, and just I've found I've had a lot more time for prayer. And there have been some people and some my church back home and other people on my heart, and it's given me time for my mind to wander to prayer and to do so more frequently than usual. So if you're stuck in a mesita of yourself where things are not as you would have them to be, you don't feel like you're having all that much of an impact on others, well, maybe it's a time of prayer that you need to be entering into more and more regularly. Be patient in affliction. Do all the things you're supposed to do, right? And be persistent in prayer. That is my challenge for you today. And hopefully it doesn't rain today. It's not supposed to rain today, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm so glad you guys are joining for the Bible study. Remember, it is a weekday Bible study, so I will see you guys again here on Monday. Thanks so much for sharing this journey with me and learning some of the things that I'm learning, some of the things that God's banging me over the head with, because these simple things are amazing how impactful they are to our lives and how easy they are to be forgotten. All right, friends, thanks so much for being here, and I will see you guys again on Monday. Until then, God bless you all.